Hey guys, 2013 is almost over and I decided to make a video summarizing my thoughts about what this year brought in terms of gaming. It wasn't a horrible year, I must say, especially for indie games that produced some unforgettable experiences. But I would rather start with triple A's, the games I played and finished, and not in any particular order. Tomb Raider comes to my mind as one of the most uncomfortable gaming experiences this year. I know if you switch off your brain it can absorb you into an action-packed adventure, but unfortunately I cannot do this. The whole game is creepy as fuck and resembles some bizarre torture porn at times. I have an impression it just doesn't know what it wants to be. It looks realistic and pretends to be taking place in a world close to our boring reality, but at the same time has things that take you straight out of it and make you scream, "Oh, this is bullshit, come on." At times it is just as dumb as surviving a nuclear explosion in a fridge. Add some creepy hints that make a player desire to protect Lara all the time while she butchers legions of men with a climbing axe and you get the full picture. Oh, and getting a girl in the end is just too much. Fuck, I kinda miss old Lara, who was at least honest about her intentions when she was showing her cleavage all the time and giving zero fucks. While the new Tomb Raider seems like it was written for a psycho male protagonist that was replaced with a teenage girl and a couple of scenes were added so no one would notice. Another disaster of mediocrity of AAA gaming that involves a female protagonist is Remember Me. That, interestingly enough, I don't remember much about, except for memory mixing, and the girl was kinda cute, not sure about the hair color though. However, the game produced one of the stupidest quotes in the industry this year. The game didn't sell well because the main hero is a girl. And I say to you, fuck off. No, honestly, this is kinda insulting, especially for the older generation of gamers. If your game is bland and forgettable, do not blame it on facts that you made up. Gamers, still being mostly guys, we freaking welcome well-written, interesting female characters. Even when I was much younger, I remember playing Beyond Good and Evil and enjoying every second of it. Trust me, I didn't think, oh, this game needs a guy instead of Jade. Even on the primitive instinct level, why do you think a lot of males play female characters in MMOs? It is not because we're demented assholes, just if you're forced to stare at a character for hours at a time, it is far more pleasant if the character is of a sex you're attracted to. So fuck your shitty excuses and try to make a better game next time. Speaking of bland shit, Batman Arkham Origins came out not so long ago, and holy crap it was a disappointment. I mean, it wasn't bad, oh no, the foundation it was building on made the game not bad, but as a sequel to this otherwise awesome franchise, it just sucks. I love Arkham games, I love Batman ever since I saw Tim Burton's movies a long time ago, but Arkham Origins left a sour taste in my mouth, because now I understand that it will be one of the franchises I don't trust all that much. Not even on the story level, but on the technical level as well. I won't be buying the next game until I get the confirmation that it isn't plagued with bugs and technical issues. It makes me kinda sad honestly, because Arkham series was the one I had no doubts about. On the other hand, we got several sequels that were pretty good and show that not everything is lost in the realm of AAA. The first one is Civ 5 Brave New World. yeah, I know that Civ 5 is pretty old, but Brave New World came out this year, so here it is. I love and hate this game so much. You see, I work at home and dip into games whenever I want to take a break. Not with Civ 5 though, oh no. I uninstalled it 3 times because whenever I start a game, all my work, all my life just goes down the drain. It is so addictive, always makes you think, oh, just one more turn wouldn't hurt, but suddenly several hours passed. And I can't wait for the next add-on, I hope there will be a next add-on, just one more add-on. Okay. Another game that consumed quite a bit of my time is Assassin's Creed 4 The Black Flag. I've never liked Assassin's Creed games. I talk about it in detail in my video, but the Black Flag is pretty good. Pirates, sailing, the main protagonist, everything is just great. And I even liked the land bits, unlike most people, because I haven't spent time playing other games in the series. It is surprisingly good and can be easily recommended, especially on a PC where it looks gorgeous. Yeah, missions are boring and the free running glitches sometimes, but overall it is one of the biggest surprises this year. What wasn't a surprise though is Rayman Legends, and it deserves a mention. Rayman is a franchise that doesn't let you down. It is solid, beautiful, and only becomes better. The music levels are just my favorite. 8-bit versions are incredible mindfucks. I beat them all and half the time I don't even know how I did it. A great game with tons to do. What else do you possibly want? Speaking of good games, let's go to indies for a while. They've been so good this year. A bit overrated at times, but good. Antichamber is a prime example. The game is awesome, very smart, challenging at times, and contains a good message. I didn't collect all the pictures, but I got to the ending. The thing I didn't like about it is not meeting my expectations, I guess. It was advertised as a thing that will redefine your perception of gaming, but let's be honest, it doesn't do that. It may work on someone who plays, I don't know, FIFA or COD and nothing else, but these people won't play this game anyway. Well, for me, a person who plays games in a lot of different genres, it took maybe half an hour to learn the game's rules and just beat it. It was a cool experience, full of mindfucks, and I made most of my friends buy the game. But in terms of redefining anything, no, just no. Another game that blew my mind is Dust: An Elysian Tale. Okay, there are some problems with this game, but, and this is completely irrational, I'm just struck by the fact that one guy made this game. I mean, holy mother of God! Just because of that, I'm ready to completely overlook few problems it has and say it is perfect for what it is. It must be played just to appreciate the fact that there are such amazingly talented people left in this goddamned world, and they make video games. They contribute to the media that we love so much. If you don't own it, go buy it now. Support this guy, come on! Another brilliant example of indie gaming is Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons. I still think that it is a bit overrated, but it certainly is a unique experience that you can't get anywhere else, and just because of it, it needs to be played. The ending really messes with you on a physical level, and I don't want to spoil it because I already did in my video, so if you played the game, go check it out. If you haven't though, go buy it for the love of God. Honestly, go buy it, you're missing out on an incredible experience that costs next to nothing. There is no reason not to play this game. It seems I'm giving a lot of praise to indies, but holy hell, these games are good. Papers, Please is the next one. Who the hell could have even thought that paperwork can be so much fun? Without having any action whatsoever, the game keeps you on the edge, forces you to make decisions that affect life around you, bringing horrible consequences at times. And that fear. Oh, the fear of getting the notice that you missed something and are penalized so you wouldn't be able to pay for food, and as a result your son dies. Papers, Please is an example of moral choices done right, which is unfortunately pretty unique in modern days gaming. Talking about action-packed, Shadowrun returns. Yeah, it is a bit silly to call an RPG with a turn-based combat system action-packed, but one of the most memorable scenes this year for me was when I played as a decker. I was hacking some CEO's computer in a penthouse of an evil cyberpunk corporation HQ, while my allies were protecting me from waves of guards who were trying to prevent us from getting vital data. Overall, the game is pretty cringeworthy. I mean, bugs from other dimensions, what? But it is memorable and interesting, besides it is Shadowrun, so at least it is worth a look. Another game that I suggest everyone tries is Skullgirls. The reason is, it is a fighting game that teaches you about fighting games for a pretty low price. Okay, maybe it is not for everyone, but if you have even a passing interest in fighting games, give it a shot, especially if you are not good at them like me. It is an indie game, so they don't have a roster with like 5,000 characters, but the characters they do have cover all the grounds and offer a deeper understanding of what fighting game characters can actually be. I know it may sound stupid for anyone who is good at fighting games, but for me, a person who enjoys them but goes only as far as learning a couple of specials and a lot of button mashing, Skullgirls was a pretty interesting learning experience. Path of Exile! Now, that game has been eating a lot of my time lately. I play it whenever I want to listen to something without paying too much attention to it, and I just started Act 3. It is basically Diablo, but better, and some of the decisions the devs made are unusual, but work surprisingly well. Firstly, there is no gold, which is crazy for an action RPG, really. Instead, you exchange goods for gems that can also buff you and your equipment. Secondly, all active abilities are in stones that you get randomly. I think so, at least. Well, some of them are quest rewards. To use them, you need to put stones into your equipment in an appropriate slot, so your skills tend to change with the change of your equipment. And thirdly, you get only passives when you level up, putting them into an insanely looking and complicated thing that proved to be not as scary as it seemed from the first sight. Honestly, I don't have any in-depth knowledge of the game, but it is fun and easy to pick up, so why the hell not? Oh, and it's free to play. I mean legitimately free to play. With all the praise indies got, I need to mention something I don't like, and it is Contrast. Contrast is a game that pissed me off. It has good aesthetics and a cool art style, but nothing beyond that. Gameplay is simple, puzzles too easy, story is horrible, and as an icing on the cake, it is buggy as hell. It won Best Indie Game of E3, proving once again that E3 and mainstream gaming journalism is total bollocks. Yeah, and while I remember, I kinda want to mention Rogue Legacy, a game I picked up a couple of days ago and can't stop playing since then. When it first came out, I looked at screenshots, wasn't impressed, and forgot about it, but now, you know, Steam sale and all that, I bought it and it turned out to be very addictive. It feels good as well, characters surprisingly have weight, and platforming overall is pretty fun. Add an interesting upgrade system, some humor behind building your legacy, and you get a roguelike that evokes that just one more time attitude. It is definitely worth checking out. The next thing 2013 was kinda rich on is scary games. There've been a few. Unfortunately, as I find out more and more lately, my definition of scary and the gaming industry definition of scary goes to opposite directions. Actually, no. There are 3 different paths, AAA scary, indie scary, and me and a bunch of other unfortunate sods like me is kinda scary. And let's just start in order. AAA scary is Dead Space. Number 3 came out this year, so let's talk about it. Yes, I am pretty hard on the Dead Space series, but I fucking despise it. I just see all the lost potential and it makes me furious. But I talked a lot about it already and I don't want to repeat myself. In brief, Dead Space is and has always been an action game with monsters in it, like Doom for instance. It is not scary, it is startling. It throws jump scares in your face that become less and less effective every single time, resulting in being annoying, so in the end the only thing that holds the game together is slightly gimmicky shooting with cutting off limbs mechanic. If judged on the basis of action game, it is okay-ish. On the basis of scary, however, it is just shit. So indie games looked at that and thought, let's take combat out entirely and focus on scares. Which seemed to be a pretty cool idea at the time. If I'm not mistaken, Amnesia was the first to bring the formula to life successfully, and of course everybody began remaking it with a slightly different flavor. A Machine for Pigs by Chinese Room and Outlast by Red Barrels are the prime examples of Amnesia's legacy. Outlast even more so, because A Machine for Pigs apparently sucks according to most people who played it. I wouldn't know, because I don't even want to bother and get upset. Yes, it is prejudice as fuck, but just by looking at screenshots and a lot of Let's Plays, I know that all 3 of those games will annoy the shit out of me. I hate when I have to turn brightness up just to see anything in a game. I hate blurry insane vision. I hate struggling with stupid monster AI. I hate waiting around the corner for half an hour just to learn monster's patrol path. It is annoying and boring. It is not scary. And let's be honest, in that kind of situation, yes, you're scared in the beginning, but you would get a stick, a knife, a brick, any weapon whatsoever, and you would fight for your life just because of your basic survival instinct that everyone has. You will not say, "Oh, monster noticed me, I better stand here and die," and restart from checkpoint later. So that brings us to my kind of scary, and maybe I'm too sadomasochistic, but the things I'm scared of the most are loneliness, madness, depression, that passive-aggressive hatred that makes you want to cut yourself and eats you slowly from the inside. It doesn't involve a monster jumping at you from a vent, it involves an atmosphere that nails suicidal thoughts into your brain. It doesn't need to be dark for that, in fact my favorite scary games are not too dark. Silent Hill is a prime example of it. Actually, the last installment of that series is not bad. Of course, Downpour is not as nearly good as the first 3 games, but it has the best survival horror combat in the last few years. It is just bad enough to be in a horror game. First 30 hours of Dark Souls were scary for me. That game hates you, and you can feel it in your bones. Sound design and gothic architecture only adds to the feeling of despair and inevitable death. That was the best part of Dark Souls for me, how methodical and psychological it was. Finally, Spec Ops The Line was a freaking scary game, and when it comes to madness, it beats every madness bar and blurry filter there is. After I finished it, I couldn't play anything more violent than SimCity 4. In fact, I'm so scared of this game, I don't want to replay it ever again. So, yeah, for me there were no scary games this year. Let's just hope Dark Souls 2 next year will fill that particular gap. Oh, and Evil Within will be interesting to check out. Another genre I'm fond of is FPS. Here at least 2013 doesn't seem to disappoint, with Crysis 3 being one of the worst FPS this year, and it says a lot. To be honest, I don't remember much about the game. There was a bow, Prophet was an arsehole, and Origin is a piece of shit. And this is pretty much it. It was just a forgettable cash-in, unlike, say, Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. The game was amazing, mindless cheesy fun that can't leave you untouched. Falls a bit short in the end, but it is good. However, not as good as Rise of the Triad, that was even better in terms of running 60 miles an hour high-octane fun. It has everything Blood Dragon lacks, namely old-school mechanics like, say, boss fights Blood Dragon forgot about for some reason. The next is an overrated fart that is Bioshock Infinite. Let's be clear here, I'm not hating this game. Well, maybe I am a little bit, but mostly as a reaction to how much hype this game gets. Bioshock Infinite is a worse game than Bioshock 1. I talked about it in great detail in my Bioshock Infinite video. The gist of it? The story is paced poorly, the twist is weaker than in the first game, the villain is far worse, Elizabeth is just another Disney princess, and the shooting is bad. As always in Bioshock games. Yes, the visuals are impressive, but for a non-American like me, a lot of parts of it just falls flat on its face. On the opposite side of the spectrum, we have Shadow Warrior. That I can easily call the shooter of the year without a shadow of a doubt. And you know what? I find the story of Shadow Warrior much more compelling than the story of Bioshock Infinite. When Shadow Warrior ended, I was legitimately sad seeing the whole tragedy that took place and not thinking, oh, so what the fuck just happened exactly? And when it comes to shooting, Shadow Warrior blows Bioshock Infinite out of the water. So if you haven't yet, go get Shadow Warrior, it is amazing! Yeah, there were other shooters this year, a new COD, Battlefield 4 and Metro Last Light. I haven't played any of those and I'm not planning to. A new COD? Come on, this franchise just needs to die already. And if Battlefield 4 is slightly better, I keep reading about how broken it is on r/gaming daily. Honestly, fuck Origin. And Metro Last Light, after what a putrescent pile of shit Metro 2033 was, I just don't care about this franchise whatsoever. It may be the best game of all time, I don't care, I'm not buying it, I'm not playing it, so it can fuck off. Why? Check out my video on Metro 2033. Speaking of games I don't want to play, DMC Devil May Cry is also one of them. I view DMC as a finished franchise. However, to be honest, I'm interested in what comes next in this new installment, so if I hear the next game is interesting, Dante becomes his former self, and combat is not piss easy, I might give DMC a shot, just to see how it all began. Otherwise, not interested. Okay, and finally, worst games of 2013 that I didn't play naturally because I'm a normal human being and have no time to waste on schlock. I already play way too many games. So, what's the worst game of the year? Many would argue it is Right to Hell Retribution 1%. It is actually so bad I kinda want to play it just to know what it's like. From what I saw, sex scenes especially, it is just perfect. Gotta be a nice pick for a couple of bucks. The game I would never want to play, however, is Aliens Colonial Marines. It is a dirty game with the devs who actually published false trailers and gameplay footage to trick people into pre-ordering it. So, what's the moral? Do not pre-order! Then we have Dark, a shitty Twilight pandering that wants to be Vampires the Masquerade Bloodlines, a game I beat 5 or 6 times. Actually, Dark is as bland and generic as its title, so I don't know why I even mention it. Besides, vampires reached their epicness in the song Bloodline by Slayer, so if you can't play your vampire game while listening to it, your vampire game sucks. Finally, we get 2 more examples of naughty behavior on the dev/publisher's part, Rome Total War 2 and SimCity. 2 games designed to get good reviews, but being essentially shit. I gotta think Rome 2 failed in that regard, because nothing could mask all the glaring bugs it has to this day according to forums. SimCity, however, succeeded and got good reviews across the board until people put roughly 30 hours into it, realized it is fundamentally broken, and got back to SimCity 4 or switched to something like Cities Excel Platinum. So this is it, thanks for watching guys, the name is GrrrVahrrr and I shall see you next year.
Goodbye, goodbye, see you again. Goodbye, goodbye, see you my friends. Goodbye, goodbye, I had fun today.